I've been asked just to say a few brief words about technology and innovation. It's actually I found it quite difficult when I came to think about it, because as I went through different parts of the business, it was almost impossible to find any part of the business that wasn't being dominated by technology. And so what I've done is we run a business planning process, which is a 5P process, which deals with product, promotion, people, premises and systems, and profit. And I'm just going to go through those 5 areas just to discuss how technology is playing a part in our business. And in doing so, I should confess early on, I am one of those entrepreneurs who is good at the easy bit, which is the idea, and absolutely useless at everything else. So possibly my biggest strength is in employing people who are better than me in all other aspects of the business. So anything that we're doing that is in any way interesting is not down to me at all. It's down to the team back at the ranch. So I should say that in advance. So just briefly about the business, you heard earlier, but about 80% of our business now is B2C, and about 20% is B2B. So the B2B business might be supplying lamps for lifeboats. So there's a relatively small number of regular businesses. And the B2C is a burgeoning, very rapidly growing international business. And lighting, for years, has been pretty moribund in its technology, and almost nothing happened. Edison came up with the light bulb, 100 so years ago. And then there was a little bit of fluorescent playing around in the 70s and 80s. But recently, the whole technology has exploded, and it's very possibly one of the fastest moving technological areas on the planet. It's moving faster, I think, now than computers, and it's been the acceleration in the development of solid-state lighting in LEDs, that's light emitting diodes, has particularly driven that. So if we look at product, so our product is being significantly impacted by these changes in technology. So one of the changes was the LED that came along, and that was driven then by a regulation change based on an environmental pressure of low energy, which has really accelerated its development. And we've had ban the bulb regulations pretty much all over the world now. Now, what that's meant has been a fundamental addressing of the whole value proposition almost of our business, because once you get to really low energy lights, and what we make is a task light, so if in a particular area you're concentrating, once you get to low energy lights and you then ally to that advances in battery technology, advances in solar panels, you suddenly move from a constraint, which is we need to have a product that plugs into the wall, to one where that completely disappears. And we are in the midst of re-engineering every single item in our range to be only LED, to be rechargeable, half of it to have a solar power option, and to be portable. So lighting is moving from something that sat in your lounge or on your desk to something that you pick up, stick in your briefcase, and carry with you. And it's got fundamental implications for the whole world. I mean, if you look at Africa, solar-powered LED lights are now starting to appear in villages all over Africa. Other technologies that are interesting to us that have impacted on product, Kindle and the iPad. So we focus on helping people to be able to see well. As you get older, you need lots more light and better quality light. Kindle and the iPad, people used to come to me and say, oh, well, your business is dead. You got Kindles, you can blow up, you get iPads, you can blow up the text, you're going to get backlit Kindles fairly quickly. But actually what's happened is suddenly people have realised they can read something on their iPad, but when they go to their newspaper or their book or anything else, they can't read it. So it's actually increased demand for our products. One interesting area, however, in the technology stakes on product, is that the acceleration in product development has been around low energy and low heat, but actually not around doing the lighting job better. And in fact, there's been a retrograde process in terms of the quality of light that's being offered through the low energy routes. Next, what's happening, which is fascinating to us, is OLEDs, if anybody's heard of OLEDs. I was at a David Guetta concert. For those who know David Guetta is, my wife's a bit of a fan. I was, all this, and the guy in front of me had an OLED T-shirt on. And what an OLED T-shirt on is a shirt with LEDs actually in the fabric, and it was operating as a graphic equalizer. So as the music was playing, the lights were going up and down on his shirt. The next piece of technology that we're looking very closely at is the emergence of 3D printers. We think 3D printers are going to fundamentally alter the way in which products are supplied, particularly spare parts and amendments to products. So you can, instead of making something, what we're possibly going to be able to do is create an electronic file that you then sell to someone down the line, and then they print their own shade for their lamp or whatever the amendment is. And the other area of technology on product that we're looking at very closely, we work with the company called McLaren F1. They race motor cars, and in their process, to win a race, you have to instrument the whole race. You instrument every part of the vehicle, so you can tell at any moment if a part is overheating or anything like that. So we're looking at how we might instrument our products in the field, so that we can get a data feed, so that we can go and tell someone on an oil rig in the North Sea that their lamp is actually about to fail and they need to, or on a lifeboat or on a battleship or on a nuclear submarine or something like that. So there's a lot of stuff happening technology-wise on the product, but also in promotion. I mean, you'd have to be living on another planet not to have noticed all the social media changes and all those sorts of things. But that has a really strong impact on non-online media, for instance. Customer acquisition rates, it costs us to get a customer typically about £25. They place an advert in a newspaper, the customer sticks their hands up, says, I'm interested. Those rates have been gradually rising and rising as the readership of the cash cow in news and publishing, which is the paper itself, has dwindled, while the overall readership of the publication has risen. So what you find of something like Telegraph Group or something, they get all of their advertising for their newspaper, or most of it for the printed paper. The readership is falling, but people reading on their iPad, on their laptop, on their mobile is increasing, and they haven't yet worked out how to monetize that. So as an advertiser, you're in a difficult position because your ad rates are not really reflecting now the lower return rate, but they haven't yet worked out how to monetize the other platforms. Direct TV massively changed in the last 10 years. We're running TV ads. You can pretty much target who you want because of the proliferation of channels. Web, analytics, all those sorts of things. Marketing is just, there are new rules to marketing now. Everything is pretty much changed in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, if you just look at something, and it's technology driven, if you look at something like PR. PR used to be, you go and get a PR agency, they would have contacts with a few editors, you'd get your story out, you make it newsworthy. That's fundamentally changed now. The PR is direct with the customer, it's online, it's prolific press releases targeted at different niches on the web. It's all technology driven. On the people side, I'm a director of a psychometric profiling business that operates around the world, and we use, in our business, we use their profiles, but we use them, again, it's using the technology platform, we use them with our suppliers, so we know who we are working with and how they're going to, whether they're going to get on with us or not. We are quite a difficult customer. We know we're a very difficult customer. We are incredibly demanding because we are ambitious and we don't want any excuses. We want people that respond to the urgency that we place on matters, and therefore it's actually very interesting to understand the profiles of the people. So we do those sorts of things. As I mentioned earlier, we're starting to profile our customers so we can serve them better. LinkedIn, I don't know if LinkedIn plays that well over here. I haven't been to a meeting in the last year when I haven't pre-profiled the person I'm meeting on LinkedIn, either before or after the meeting, or who hasn't done the same with me and knows more about me than I've remembered when we come to the meeting. And that technology has fundamentally altered the whole recruitment process, as for us as a business, but also for the whole recruitment trade. I've got a friend that runs the National Tennis Academy in Britain, and when I said I was coming to Trinidad, he said, "Oh, you have to meet Trish." I said, "Trish is his personal assistant." And I said, "Oh, okay. What do you mean?" He said, "Well, she lives in Tobago." And I hadn't twigged that his PA, who I'd been dealing with for at least 5 years, is based in Tobago. So, the death of distance, was brought home to me in one very simple moment. Premises and systems. In the same way that we want to instrument our product, we're looking to instrument our business. So we're building data feeds into a daily dashboard that tells us when we're overheating in one part of the business. So if we're running an advertising campaign and it overperforms, what's happening to the phone lines? Are they overheating? Are we spending too long on the phones? Have we got the supply chain lined up? And, all those sorts of things. The cloud, 4G, Skype, VoIP phone systems means now that we don't actually have to have the offices that we used to have. So we're just in the process of procuring a new VoIP phone system instead of adding an extra building. The other thing with technology on the premises side is the speed of computing now allows you to remodel what's going on in real time. When I sat down, I thought, well, how's technology impacting the business? It's just literally everywhere. Sat-nav, satellite navigation. We are just procuring a new web platform. We want to go mass customized in all these different things I was talking about earlier. We're procuring that platform on an open platform basis and procuring the services globally. We've got one guy writing something in Kenya, another guy, all on an open source platform. Now, you just couldn't have imagined us doing that even a couple of years ago. And in terms of profit, productivity has definitely risen as a function of the technology available to us. The crowdfunding is another area we're looking at. Like most businesses, we don't really like having to rely on a single monopoly supplier, namely the bank. So we quite like the idea of crowdfunding. And actually, one of the other things that we've discovered is possible now is to use your own crowd to fund your business. So we're looking at a bond issue with our customers. So so we've now got 250,000 well-heeled individual customers. And so we're able to profile our list, use the technology that we've got to work out who might have money, who might be an investor. And we're going to do a company bond issue to our own customers. What better way? Firstly, it builds the brand and the association with your customer base. But secondly, we're able to say, well, you can only get 2% from the bank. They'll charge us 5%. How about 3.5%? How does that suit? And it ties your customers in. It takes you away from that. And all of that is being enabled by technology.